let's stick with LeBron, Rob. And he made a comment. He was on Uninterrupted recently, one of their podcasts, and he said that I'm just going to read the quote to you. He was asked about, does he think he could have played with Jordan, and would they have been good teammates? He says, me personally, the way I play the game, team first, I feel like my best assets work perfectly with Mike. Mike is an assassin. When it comes to playing the game of basketball, scoring the way he scored the ball, my ability to pass, my ability to read the game plays in advance, I saw the things Pippen was able to do with Mike. I just think it would have been a whole nother level. Pip was one of my favorite players. It would have been a whole nother level with me being a point forward, with me being that point forward alongside of him during those Chicago runs. What's your thoughts on, basically LeBron said he would have fit perfectly with Jordan.
I don't buy that. That's another one. I think it sounds weird too that you would basically saying that he would be a compliment to Michael Jordan, that he's the GOAT, but he would be a compliment for Michael Jordan. I find something strange about that. I'm not so sure LeBron is ball dominant, needs the ball a lot. I don't know if that really works, Chris. Your point is maybe depending on when he came in the league, right?
I think had LeBron been, let's say Jordan's there, and LeBron was drafted by the Bulls. And let's say instead of Pippen, he was coming out of high school that year or whatever. I think I agree with LeBron totally. I think he would have fit in great. His game is like a turbocharged version of Scottie Pippen. Like, I remember, Terry Pluto, right? The writer?
Of course.
Terry Pluto's great writer, great NBA writer, has written several books about the ABA and the NBA, covered the Cavaliers for a long time. Yeah, and now he's a columnist. He told me, I worked with Terry at the Beacon Journal, and when I was covering the Cavs, when LeBron was coming out, he said to me, he might be more Scottie. Now, he had watched LeBron all through high school. He said he might be more Scottie than Michael. And that LeBron's game is more like Scottie's than Michael's. But unlike Scottie, he could score 27 to 30 points a night, and he's just better than Scottie. But he does those things. So I think he would have been a perfect fit with Jordan. And I don't think that means I think he could have played with Jordan. I think they would have been better than Jordan and Pippen. And I think LeBron could have still been viewed as like a top 5 player of all time. Magic, having played with Kareem, does not stop Magic from being in the top 5 in a lot of people's list, including mine. And Magic would come, you saw it, Rob, he'd come down every play in the half court and dump it into Kareem. And so Magic was playing that complimentary role in a lot of cases to Kareem,
but the only difference
in terms of scoring. So I think LeBron could have done it.
I think the only difference is, on that case, what played out. Here you're reevaluating exactly what it would be and what he would have to conform to be in order for it to work. If you look at LeBron's body of work and what he has done over the years and whatnot, and just use that, and he played that way, I don't think it fits. I think if you're telling me you're refiguring, you're taking a mold of clay and you're redoing LeBron and saying he would be this. He's better than and different from Scottie Pippen than Scottie Pippen was.
Well, no players back then were ball dominant like the players are today. And not just LeBron. I mean, Chris Paul, Steve Nash, Dwayne Wade. I mean, most of these guys over-dribble too much. That just wasn't a part of the game back then. And I hear what you're saying. So to your point, let's say LeBron got drafted somewhere else and played for 7 years somewhere else or whatever, and became, this great player who rivals Jordan. And whether you think LeBron's better or Jordan's better or whatever, but they're the 2 top players in the game. And then LeBron goes to play with Jordan, I do think it would have been a problem, because LeBron did he was so used to the system being based on him. Okay. I get that. And obviously he wouldn't have, but I think had he been drafted, and it's not a stretch, to say that LeBron right out the gate could have fit into the triangle, done what Pippen did, but at a higher level. But yeah, when he got to Cleveland, they put him at point guard under, Paul Silas. And we saw it. LeBron did everything. He became the entire offense. Mike Brown went there, same thing. He becomes the entire offense. And so he got used to being completely ball dominant and creates everything for all his teammates. So that, would have had to adjust to play with Jordan. And Jordan would have let him be the playmaker. But Jordan ain't going to sit there and let you dribble for 15 seconds. You know what I'm saying?
That wouldn't happen.
And in the triangle, you had to move. You move without the basketball. But that said, I do think LeBron has the skills, the skill set, and the mentality where early on, I think he would have been a perfect match with Jordan early on. And, they would have been freaking ridiculous. I don't know if I ever told you, I did a story in when LeBron go to Miami, 2010, 2011. So that season, his last season in Cleveland, early in that year, Rob, I came up with this notion. I was looking at LeBron and the big three in Boston, and I'm like, man, Kobe had Pau Gasol, and obviously the Celtics had their guys. And I was like, he's probably going to have to get a second star to beat these teams. And I don't know that anybody's coming to Cleveland. I looked at the landscape and I saw that Miami was going to have money. And I said, I wrote a column for ESPN.com saying LeBron may need to go to Miami to play with Dwayne Wade to get over the hump. And if he or to get that second star. And I talked to LeBron before it, and I asked him, I said, could you play with Wade? And he didn't give me any body language or smirk or smile that made me think that they had talked about it or it was in the works. But he was just like, man, he's like, I could play with anybody. He's like, and he said this, Rob, he said, if I got drafted by the Pistons, instead of Darko, like say Melo went first and then LeBron went second to the Pistons, he said, I could have fit in there because my game, I can tailor my game to the skills of the other players. And he said this at the time, I don't need to be the man. I don't need to be the leading scorer. Now, I think as a younger player, he could have fit in that way. But once he, became what he did and had to carry the offense so much, I think he became a different type of player. But he said that, and when I wrote that column, Rob, I never thought it would happen. But obviously it did. Maybe I planted a seed in his mind.
I don't know, maybe.
I don't know. I didn't mention Chris Bosh, but yeah, it's interesting. And that's just pipe dreaming to see if those two would have played together. Would LeBron have been a great fit playing alongside Michael Jordan? Your turn to weigh in as we continue the conversation with you next.
All right, Charles in Atlanta, you're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Charles?
What's going on, guys? Thanks for taking my call. Great content as usual, fellas.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
I think LeBron can play with Jordan. If you think about it, LeBron has played with every type of player. The only question would be in his early years, could LeBron handle such a dominant, straightforward personality like Jordan? I think he could. It actually would have shaped LeBron into probably one of the best players. He's already one of the best players that play the game, but if he would have played with Jordan, oh man, it would have shaped him to be probably the same kind of killer as Jordan was. So I think he could.
Well, he wouldn't even have had to be.
Well, true.
See, I think some players are more facilitators. Magic was more facilitator than cold-blooded scorer like Jordan or Kobe. And LeBron, while he scored more than Magic, he was that type of personality and player too.
I think so. And if he would have played with Jordan, he probably would have been strictly a point guard as well. So that probably would have shaped LeBron's career.
Oh, it would have been totally. It would have been.
They
would
have been ridiculous. Yeah, the two of
Mark
them together.
in Sacramento. Thanks for the call, Charles. Mark in Sacramento. You're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Mark?
What's going on, gentlemen? How you guys today?
Great. How are you?
Good. I think they could have played together easily. I'm with you, Chris. First of all, LeBron is the closest thing I've seen to Magic. He's more Magic than Michael by far. He'd rather pass, number one. And number two, I don't think they would have been running any triangle with those two dudes on the floor. I would have liked to see them get in the open court. Imagine those two Greyhounds getting down the open court, and with LeBron, the ball in his hands, getting it to Jordan, he would have led the league in assists many times, guarantee you by far.
I mean, look, if Phil Jackson was coaching, they would have run the triangle.
I think they'd have gotten the open court a lot more.
Yeah, I mean, I think they would have run. I mean, it was different back then, the defensive emphasis. It wasn't as much running back then, but I think they could have tried. But Pippen was able to do that as well. Just was a different league at that point.
And again, real quick, comparing him to Magic Johnson, getting the rebound and just breaking out of the pack, that's what I mean. That's that Magic Johnson and LeBron James that would have came out. Just getting the board and pushing it himself. Right. So that's what I meant. A lot more of that you would have saw.
Okay,
yeah,
Mark,
it would have been interesting. Yeah,
Jay in Michigan, you're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Jay?
Dre. But
Dre.
like I was saying, what I was telling you, Streaner, LeBron would have had the one thing that he's never had, and that's a great coach in Phil Jackson. So could you imagine what Phil Jackson would have done with his skill set? He'd have made him an all-time probably assist leader. Having him and Jordan.
Yeah. One thing I've said, if LeBron, like the people we tend to compare LeBron to, Duncan had Popovich, Magic had Pat Riley, obviously Kobe and Jordan had Phil. Like if LeBron had one of those guys coach him, I do think he'd have more championships.
Yeah. Can I make a quick point, too?
He might very well be known as the GOAT. Yeah, go ahead.
If you think about it, in the last 40 years, only 10 different franchises have won a championship. And with the exception of 2, and that's the Mavericks and I believe the Toronto Raptors. They all either had savvy GMs or great coaches. LeBron hasn't had that.
Yeah, but that can't be a reason that he hasn't won.
The
though.
Raptors got savvy GMs, too.
I think that's a cop-out. I really do.
No, I do think he would have won more, Rob, but you're right. I'm not saying I'm going to insert that into the equation of you know what I mean? Like, you got to take the hand you're dealt. It is what it is. I mean,
and here's the other part too. I just.
So I agree with you on that.
Yeah, I just think that's an easy out for people with LeBron, and it's one thing you can make it to the finals, but you can't win the final. It's not like Chris. He wasn't going to the playoffs, or he couldn't get out of the second round, or where there was things, and you looked at it and say, man, if he had this, or he had that, he was doing all of his part. But you can't get all the way there and then make an excuse. That's what people in Michigan always did about the Fab Five. Oh, yeah, but they were only freshmen. They were only sophomores. It's like, well, they got to the championship game.
Yeah, but there is something to be said for growth. I mean,
I
Jordan,
that, but
Doug Collins got the Bulls to the conference finals.
But all I'm saying is that can't be just because if you win it, no one is going to say, well, you really can't count it because they're just so young. I don't think nobody. But you always say that. But who doesn't count? Like even do I think LeBron had any legitimate shot of beating the Spurs in 2007? No. But I counted on his record. He's 3-6. But you do. But a lot of minions of his LeBron minions go, you can't count 2007. He was young. He didn't even belong there. No. He was in the finals.
You've done that with Steph. You try to act like Steph's last 2 titles didn't count.
I didn't say that.
Now, are you joking when you say that?
I've never said that.
You have said that.
I've never said that. Never. I've never said that.
Okay. All right.
I've never said that they don't count.
Nick you talk like he's got one ring.
Nick in South Carolina.
Rack that. Alex, save that and play it next time he says it.
What's up, guys?
He might say it in freaking the hot seat.
What's up, Nick?
Hey, Hey, quick point on Paul Pierce. He's absolutely wrong. LeBron is top 3 at least. No one else in his top 5 was the best scorer, passer, rebounder, and defender on all his championship contender teams. So just because of versatility, he's absolutely top 3. But as far as LeBron playing with Jordan, I think they would have been fine together. I mean, I think LeBron actually might have even stolen a few Finals MVPs. Maybe not, all 6, but maybe a couple. Maybe 96. When Jordan was struggling a little bit against Payton and, had his father on his mind and whatnot, and maybe 98. But I hate it when people say the Bulls would win 8 straight because they just don't factor in the mental fatigue. But if LeBron was playing on that team, I think they absolutely could have won 8 straight.
I mean, they would have been phenomenal. As great as they were, I mean, LeBron's better than Pippen. And he does everything Pippen does, but at a higher level for the
Still
most
doesn't mean that it's
things.
automatic that you would win. I mean,
no,
I
but
think
they would have been so much better. And, gosh, that would have been ridiculous. That would have been incredible. And I agree. I think LeBron could have stolen a few finals MVPs.
I'm not
I
sure.
know
'cause
Rob
he might
don't
have
wanna
missed
hear that.
Yeah, because he would have missed free throws at the end of the game, and Jordan would have a record of 3-3 instead of
Look
6.
at you.
6-0.
Look at you.
And then
Look
what
at
would
you.
they say? Oh, look, LeBron missed free throws at the end.
Thankfully,
Jordan would have said, "Hey, I'm going to pass you the ball. Get ready. They're going to double team me,
No, he wouldn't have said that to LeBron.
LeBron, they're going to double team me.
He would have said it to Kerr
no,
like he did.
they would have said it. No, he said it to LeBron. They're going to triple team me, LeBron.
Why would he pass to LeBron to shoot a jumper?
Because they know that I'm just
He
saying.
didn't say it to Pippen.
Because they said and then
Just
LeBron
stop
don't
while
drive
you're
don't
ahead.
drive
Just quit
the ball.
while you're ahead,
Don't
Rob.
go to the line. Don't drive the ball. Make sure you don't drive no matter what you do. Okay.
All right. Was it worth it really getting
Yes,
that
it
out?
was. Yes.